If you are over 60, you may have noticed something quietly changing. Getting up from a chair takes a little more effort than it used to. Carrying groceries feels heavier. Your balance when walking is not quite what it was. And maybe you have been doing everything right, eating well, taking your supplements, staying active, and yet something still feels off. There's a name for what is happening. It is called sarcopenia, and it is more common than most people realize. Sarcopenia is the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength that happens as we age. It is not a disease in the traditional sense. It is a process, but it is a process that can dramatically change how independent you are as the years go by. Here's what happens. After about age 30, the body slowly begins losing muscle. At first, the change is so small you do not notice it. A little less strength here, a little slower recovery there. But by the time you reach your 60s, the pace begins to pick up. Research suggests that muscle mass declines by roughly 3 to 8% per decade after 30, with the rate accelerating after 60. Strength declines even faster than mass. That is why a 70-year-old who has not been actively maintaining muscle may struggle with tasks that were effortless at 50. And it is worth being honest about why this matters, because it is about far more than appearance. Muscle is what lets you rise from a chair, steady yourself on uneven ground, carry a grandchild, or get up off the floor if you fall. When it fades, the world slowly shrinks. Things you once did without thought begin to require planning and then begin to feel impossible. Preserving muscle is not a cosmetic concern. It is the foundation of staying independent in your own home for as long as possible. The good news is this: muscle tissue is remarkably responsive. Even in later years, the body retains the ability to hold on to muscle and to rebuild strength when given the right signals. Those signals come from two places: movement and food. A channel dedicated to helping people over 60 understand what their bodies need to stay strong, independent, and healthy. In this video, we are going to focus on one of the most overlooked pieces of the puzzle: breakfast. Specifically, the 5 foods that can help preserve muscle when eaten as part of a morning routine. And we will also talk about the common breakfast mistakes that may be quietly working against you. But before we get to the foods, we need to understand what is actually happening inside your muscles, because once you understand the mechanism, everything else clicks. Your muscles are not static structures. They are dynamic, living tissue that is constantly being broken down and rebuilt. Every day, through normal movement and physical activity, your muscle fibers develop tiny microscopic tears. This sounds bad, but it is actually essential. These microtears signal the body to repair and rebuild, and in the process, the muscle becomes slightly stronger and more resilient. This is how strength is maintained and how it grows. The critical window for this repair process is overnight, while you sleep. During deep restorative sleep, the body releases growth hormone, which triggers the repair of those muscle fibers. But here's the part that is often overlooked. The body cannot complete this repair without the right raw materials. Muscle is made of protein. Specifically, it is made of amino acids, the building blocks of protein. If those amino acids are not available in the bloodstream, when the body tries to repair muscle, the repair process cannot happen properly. Instead of rebuilding, the body may begin breaking down existing muscle tissue to harvest the amino acids it needs for other essential functions, such as making enzymes, hormones, and immune cells. It is also worth understanding why sleep and breakfast are so closely linked. During the night, as a growth hormone does its work, your body draws on the amino acids in your blood to fuel repair. If the previous day's protein was adequate, there is a supply to draw from. If not, the repair runs short. And by morning, your muscles are more depleted than they needed to be. Breakfast, then, is not only about the day ahead. It closes the loop on the night just past, refilling the reserves those repairs drew down. One reason we treat the morning meal as the anchor of the day. This is where breakfast becomes critical. After a full night of fasting, your body is in a state of muscle protein breakdown. The overnight fast is the longest period your body goes without incoming nutrients. To shift from breakdown to rebuilding, you need to deliver protein, specifically the amino acid leucine, to your muscles. Leucine acts like a switch that turns on muscle protein synthesis, the process by which new muscle protein is created. Without enough leucine in the morning, the body remains in a state of breakdown for longer, and over time that contributes to sarcopenia. There's one more piece to this puzzle, and it may be the most important thing to understand about muscle after 60. When you were younger, a small amount of protein was enough to switch on muscle building. A younger body is highly sensitive and responds efficiently to even modest amounts. But as we age, the muscles become less responsive to protein. Researchers call this anabolic resistance. An older body needs a larger dose of protein, and specifically of leucine, to trigger the same response a younger body could achieve with far less. Think of it like a dimmer switch that has grown stiff with age. When you were 30, a light touch brought the lights up. Now at 70, that same touch does almost nothing. You have to push harder for the same result. Advice that works for a 30-year-old does not work for someone over 60. A small carton of yogurt or a single egg may have been plenty in your youth. Now your muscles need a stronger signal, a more concentrated dose of high-quality protein to wake up and begin the work of repair. This single fact explains much of what follows. It is why we keep returning to protein density, and why a breakfast that once kept a younger person strong may quietly leave an older person losing ground year after year. Here's the key idea to hold on to for the rest of this video. Muscle is built from protein, and the morning is when your muscles are most in need of that protein. Every food we discuss from here on is chosen because it delivers high-quality protein or because it supports the absorption and utilization of that protein. Most people over 60 have been told at some point to eat a healthy breakfast. Oatmeal, cereal, toast, maybe fruit, and these foods are not inherently bad. They provide fiber, vitamins, and energy, but they share a critical problem. They deliver almost no protein. A bowl of oatmeal with skim milk contains perhaps 8 to 10 grams of protein. A slice of white toast with butter contains less than 4 grams. A bowl of most breakfast cereals contains 2 to 5 grams, and that protein is often incomplete, meaning it lacks the full spectrum of essential amino acids your muscles need. Consider what happens when you start your day this way. You break your overnight fast with a meal that is mostly carbohydrates. The carbohydrates are quickly digested and converted to glucose. Your blood sugar rises. Your body releases insulin to manage that rise. And here is the subtle problem. Insulin and leucine compete for the same signaling pathways in muscle tissue. When insulin levels are high from a carbohydrate-heavy meal, and leucine levels are low because there is no protein, the muscle-building switch stays off. Your body continues breaking down muscle to meet its amino acid needs. Now, this does not mean carbohydrates are the enemy. Carbohydrates provide energy, and energy is essential. But a breakfast that is mostly carbohydrates with little or no protein is a missed opportunity. It is the equivalent of sending a construction crew to a job site without delivering any building materials. The crew shows up, but the work cannot proceed. There is another common mistake worth mentioning, and it has to do with timing. Many people drink coffee in the morning before eating anything. Coffee itself is fine. The problem is the empty stomach. Caffeine on an empty stomach triggers the release of cortisol, a stress hormone. Cortisol has many functions in the body, and one of them is the breakdown of stored energy to provide glucose for the brain. When there is no food coming in, the body relies partly on muscle protein as a source of that glucose. This does not mean you should give up coffee. It means you should eat something first, ideally something with protein, and then enjoy your coffee afterward. There is one more mistake, and it is one that even health-conscious people make. It has to do with how protein is spread across the day. Many people over 60 eat little protein in the morning, a little at lunch, and a large portion at dinner. On the surface, the daily total might look perfectly adequate, but the body does not work on daily totals. It works meal by meal. Here's the problem. Because of anabolic resistance, the muscle-building switch needs a threshold amount of protein at each meal to turn on roughly 25 to 30 grams for an older adult. Eat only 10 grams at breakfast, and you fall below it. The switch does not flip, no matter how much you eat later. And when you sit down to 60 grams at dinner, your body cannot use it all for muscle at once. Much of the excess is simply burned or stored. So a person eating this way might reach their daily target on paper, yet only trigger muscle building once a day, missing breakfast and lunch entirely. The solution is not to eat more protein overall. It is to spread it more evenly, reaching that threshold at each main meal. And since the overnight fast leaves your muscles most depleted in the morning, breakfast is where getting this right matters most. So before we introduce the 5 foods, let us take a moment to hear from you. In the comments, tell us what you usually eat for breakfast. Be honest, there is no judgment here. And tell us your age and how long you have noticed changes in your strength. Your answer helps this community understand what is really happening in kitchens across the country. And it might be the exact thing someone else needs to read tonight to know they are not alone. Now let us get into the foods themselves. Each one of these is chosen because it delivers a meaningful amount of high-quality protein, or because it contains specific nutrients that help your body use protein more effectively. They are all affordable, widely available, and easy to prepare. They are also foods that real people can eat every day without feeling like they are on a special diet. Food number 1, eggs. The humble egg is one of the most complete foods on the planet when it comes to supporting muscle. 2 large eggs contain approximately 12 to 13 grams of protein, and critically, that protein is complete, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids in proportions the human body can use efficiently. The biological value of egg protein is among the highest of any food, which means a very high percentage of what you eat is actually absorbed and used for tissue building, rather than simply passing through. But eggs offer more than just protein. The yolk contains vitamin D, a nutrient that plays a direct role in muscle function, and is commonly low in older adults. Vitamin D deficiency is associated with reduced muscle strength and an increased risk of falls. The yolk is also where you will find choline, which supports the nervous system and the signaling between nerves and muscles. And the fat in the yolk is not something to be feared. That fat helps your body absorb the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K that are essential for overall health. You may be wondering about cholesterol. For decades, older adults were warned to limit eggs for fear of raising their blood cholesterol. The research of recent years has told a more reassuring story. For most people, eggs have only a modest effect on blood cholesterol because the body adjusts its own production in response. Major health organizations have relaxed their guidance accordingly. For most older adults, an egg or two is not a risk to be feared. It is one of the most efficient, affordable sources of muscle-supporting nutrition there is. As always, if you have a history of heart disease, your doctor can guide you. A note on preparation: hard-boiled eggs are convenient and can be prepared in advance. Scrambled eggs cooked in a small amount of butter or olive oil are gentle on digestion. Poached eggs are excellent if you enjoy a lighter texture. The goal is simply to include the whole egg. The yolk is not optional. It is where half the protein and most of the nutrients live. Food number 2, plain Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is a concentrated source of protein. A single cup contains approximately 20 grams, which is double or more what you would get from regular yogurt. But the real advantage of Greek yogurt is its unique protein profile. Greek yogurt contains a mix of whey protein, which is digested quickly and delivers amino acids rapidly to muscle tissue, and casein protein, which is digested slowly and provides a steady supply of amino acids over several hours. This combination is almost ideal for the morning. The whey triggers immediate muscle protein synthesis, and the casein keeps the supply going through the morning. Greek yogurt is also naturally rich in leucine, the amino acid that acts as the master switch for muscle building. A single cup contains around 2.5 grams of leucine, which is right at the threshold research suggests is needed to trigger protein synthesis in an older adult. For maximum benefit, choose plain, full-fat Greek yogurt. The fat helps with satiety and supports vitamin absorption. Avoid the flavored varieties, which are often packed with added sugar. If you want sweetness, add fresh berries or a small drizzle of honey. Berries bring their own benefits, antioxidants that help reduce a low-grade inflammation associated with aging, without the blood sugar spike of processed sweeteners. Food number 3, lean meats, turkey and chicken. When we talk about protein density, few foods match lean poultry. 4 ounces of chicken or turkey breast delivers around 35 grams of high-quality protein. That is a substantial portion of your daily need in a single serving. And like eggs, poultry protein is complete. It contains the full spectrum of essential amino acids, including a generous amount of leucine. But poultry offers something else that is often overlooked: creatine. Creatine is a natural compound found in animal muscle that plays a direct role in energy production during short bursts of physical activity. As we age, muscle creatine levels tend to decline, and lower creatine is associated with reduced strength and slower recovery. Eating poultry is one way to replenish creatine through food without the need for supplements. The B vitamins in poultry, particularly B6 and B12, also support muscle health indirectly. These vitamins are involved in energy metabolism and in the health of the nerves that control muscle contraction. A deficiency in B12, which is common in older adults, can manifest as weakness, fatigue, and balance problems. One practical concern deserves mention. Some older adults find meat harder to chew or digest than it once was and quietly avoid it, losing a valuable protein source. The answer is usually in the preparation. Poultry that is gently poached, slow cooked, or shredded is far easier to eat than a dry, tough piece, and ground turkey or chicken formed into a soft patty requires very little chewing at all. Do not let a tough texture be the reason you give up on one of the best protein foods. Practical tip: slice leftover chicken or turkey from dinner and add it to your morning eggs. Or prepare a simple turkey breakfast patty with salt, pepper, and a little sage. You do not need to cook a full meal every morning. Just include a few ounces of lean poultry as part of your breakfast a few days a week. Food number 4, avocado. Avocado is not a protein food in the traditional sense. Half an avocado contains only about 2 grams of protein. So why is it on this list? Because of what it does for the protein foods around it. Avocado is rich in monounsaturated fat, the same kind of healthy fat found in olive oil. That fat acts as a delivery system for fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, allowing them to be absorbed rather than simply passing through. When you eat avocado alongside eggs or poultry, you are not just adding calories, you are enhancing the nutritional value of the entire meal. Avocado also contains potassium. A medium avocado provides more potassium than a banana, and potassium is essential for proper muscle contraction. Low potassium can cause cramping, weakness, and even heart rhythm issues. Many older adults are told to limit potassium because of blood pressure medication interactions. But for those without kidney disease or potassium restrictions, avocado is an excellent source. And there's another piece. Avocado is rich in glutathione, a powerful antioxidant that your body produces naturally, but which declines with age. Glutathione helps protect muscle cells from the oxidative stress that occurs during physical activity and daily life. Less oxidative stress means less damage and faster recovery. Let us pause here and talk about someone whose experience illustrates the point of all this. Robert was 68 years old when he started noticing the signs. He had been a high school teacher for nearly 4 decades, and in his retirement, he had stayed active gardening, walking, helping his daughter with home repairs. But over a period of about 18 months, he realized he was avoiding things he used to do without thinking. He no longer picked up his 3-year-old granddaughter because she felt too heavy. He left bags of potting soil in the car because they were too hard to lift. He had fallen once, tripping on a step, and after that, he became cautious in a way he had never been before. Robert's breakfast routine had not changed in 20 years. A bowl of cereal, usually something bran-based, with skim milk. Sometimes he would add a banana. It was quick, easy, and it seemed healthy. And on paper, it was not terrible. But it was almost entirely carbohydrate. Very little protein, very little fat, no leucine to switch on muscle building. Every morning he was breaking his overnight fast with a meal that did almost nothing to support the muscle his body was already struggling to hold on to. The change was simple, and it did not require a complete overhaul of his life. He started with a different breakfast. 2 eggs, scrambled in a little olive oil, with half an avocado sliced on the side. On mornings when he did not want eggs, he had a bowl of plain Greek yogurt with a handful of berries and a few walnuts. 3 to 4 times a week, he included leftover chicken or turkey. He did not count calories. He did not track macros. He simply made sure that every breakfast included a meaningful source of protein. 6 months later, the difference was measurable. His grip strength had improved. He was no longer leaving bags in the car. He had picked up his granddaughter without thinking twice. He told his daughter he felt like he had woken up from a long fog. Now, no one is claiming this was a miracle. Robert also started walking more, and he was diligent about drinking water throughout the day. But the breakfast change was a cornerstone. The point is this: muscle loss after 60 is not inevitable. It is the result of signals your body is receiving or not receiving. And one of the most powerful signals you can send is the composition of your breakfast. Robert's story is one many men will recognize. But muscle loss after 60 is not only a man's concern. Women face particular challenges of their own, and it is worth telling a second story here because it looks so different on the surface. Margaret was 72, a retired librarian, and by her own description, a careful eater. She had watched her weight her whole life and ate small portions, salads, a little fruit, a slice of toast, herbal tea. Her breakfast was often just half a grapefruit and a piece of whole grain bread. To anyone looking on, she seemed the very picture of healthy, disciplined eating. But Margaret had begun to struggle in ways that frightened her. She could no longer open jars. Climbing the stairs left her winded. She had lost weight without trying, and while a part of her was quietly pleased, her doctor was not. Much of the weight she was losing was not fat, it was muscle. Years of eating very little protein, especially in the morning, had left her body slowly consuming its own muscle to meet its daily needs. She had, in a sense, disciplined herself into weakness. Her situation is common among women, and there is a reason for it. After menopause, the drop in estrogen accelerates the loss of muscle. Women often begin adult life with less muscle than men to start with, so the losses of later years leave a smaller reserve. And a lifetime of dieting and small portions, so often praised as healthy, can quietly mean a lifetime of falling below the protein threshold, meal after meal, year after year. The change for Margaret was gentle. No one asked her to eat enormous meals, that was never necessary. Instead, she added a cup of plain Greek yogurt with berries and a spoonful of ground flaxseed to her mornings. Some days she had a scrambled egg with a slice of avocado. It was not much more food than before. It was better food, food that finally delivered the protein her body had been missing for years. The transformation was not overnight, and it was never dramatic. But over the better part of a year, Margaret grew steadier on her feet. She opened her own jars again. The stairs stopped frightening her. Her doctor was relieved to see the weight loss stop and her strength return. Margaret said the hardest part was unlearning a lifetime of believing that eating less was always the same as eating better. For her, and for so many women over 60, the truth was almost the opposite. Her body was not asking for restraint. It was asking to be fed. Before we get to the final food, we want to hear from you. What surprised you so far? Have you been starting your day with mostly carbohydrates, or are you already including protein? And if you have tried changing your breakfast, what did you notice? Leave a comment below. Your experience could be the very thing that helps someone else take the first step. Food number 5, nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds are another food that is not a protein powerhouse in the way eggs or poultry are, but they play a critical supporting role. A 1 ounce serving of almonds contains about 6 grams of protein, and pumpkin seeds contain about 5 grams per ounce. What makes nuts and seeds valuable for muscle maintenance is their unique combination of healthy fats, minerals, and plant-based protein. Magnesium is the first standout mineral. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzyme reactions in the body, including those that regulate muscle contraction and relaxation, protein synthesis, and energy production. Low magnesium is strongly associated with muscle cramps, weakness, and poor recovery. Pumpkin seeds, almonds, and cashews are all excellent sources. Zinc is the second. Zinc is essential for cell division and tissue repair. It is also required for the production of testosterone, a hormone that plays a direct role in muscle maintenance in both men and women. Older adults are at higher risk of zinc deficiency because absorption declines with age. A handful of pumpkin seeds or walnuts provides a meaningful contribution to daily zinc needs. And then there are the omega-3 fatty acids. Walnuts and chia seeds are particularly rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3. Omega-3s help reduce inflammation in muscle tissue, which is important because chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the drivers of muscle breakdown in older adults. Less inflammation means a better environment for muscle repair. And if chewing whole nuts is difficult, as it is for many with dental concerns, a spoonful of natural almond or peanut butter delivers the same nutrients in a form easy on the teeth. Stir it into your yogurt or spread it on toast alongside your eggs. Practical tip, add 1 ounce of mixed nuts and 1 tablespoon of seeds to your Greek yogurt or your scrambled eggs. This is not a huge amount, but it delivers a meaningful dose of protein, magnesium, zinc, and omega-3s all at once. And because nuts and seeds are calorie dense, a small portion is all you need. Let us make this practical because information without application does not help anyone. Here's a simple framework you can follow starting tomorrow morning. The goal is simple. Every breakfast should include at least 25 to 30 grams of protein, combined with a source of healthy fat and, ideally, a serving of fruit or vegetables for fiber and antioxidants. Here are 3 examples of what that looks like in practice. Example 1. 2 scrambled eggs cooked in olive oil, with half an avocado sliced on the side and a small handful of cherry tomatoes. Total protein about 15 grams from the eggs, plus a few grams from the avocado. That is a solid foundation. Example 2. 1 cup of plain Greek yogurt, with a small handful of blueberries and a tablespoon of chopped walnuts. Total protein about 20 grams from the yogurt, plus the bonus protein and healthy fats from the walnuts. Example 3. 3 to 4 ounces of leftover chicken breast, sliced and warmed with half an avocado and a small apple. Total protein about 35 grams. This is the kind of breakfast that keeps you full all morning and delivers the amino acids your muscles are waiting for. You do not need to eat the same thing every day. Variety is good. The point is the pattern. Protein first, healthy fat alongside. Color on the plate. One more thought on the bigger picture. While this video is about breakfast, the meal most often neglected, the same principle applies to the rest of your day. Aim to cross that 25 to 30 gram threshold again at lunch and again at dinner. 3 meals, each crossing it, signal your muscles 3 times rather than once. And research shows this even spacing supports muscle better than the same total protein in a single evening meal. And there is one final multiplier, because food is only half the story. Protein delivers the raw material, but movement is what tells the body to use it. A short walk, a few gentle squats, holding a chair, or some light resistance exercise in the hours after eating improves how well your muscles take up the amino acids you just provided. Food and movement are partners. Neither works as well alone. You do not need a gym, only to move deliberately, most days, alongside the protein you are now giving it. Here are 4 specific steps you can take tomorrow morning. Step 1. Take a look at what you usually eat for breakfast and ask one question: where is the protein? If the answer is, there is not much, that is the problem. Step 2. Choose one of the foods from this video and include it in your breakfast tomorrow. Eggs, Greek yogurt, or lean poultry are the easiest places to start. Step 3. If you drink coffee first thing, try eating something small first, even a hard-boiled egg or a few spoonfuls of yogurt before your first cup. It is a simple shift with meaningful benefits. Step 4. Talk to your doctor if you have kidney disease or are on any medication that affects protein metabolism. While protein is essential for muscle, people with advanced kidney disease may need to limit their intake. Your physician can tell you the right amount for your situation. Muscle loss after 60 is not a verdict, it is a signal. The body's telling you it needs something: more protein, more movement, more deliberate care. And the good news is that the body responds even at 70, even at 80. Muscle tissue retains its ability to rebuild when it is given the raw materials and the right stimulation. What you eat for breakfast will not on its own reverse sarcopenia. No single meal can do that, but breakfast is a daily opportunity to send a clear signal to your muscles: I am still here, I am still using you, and I am giving you what you need to stay strong. And remember, this is not about a single perfect morning. It is about the quiet power of repetition. One good breakfast changes very little, but a good breakfast repeated across weeks and months becomes a steady daily message to your body: keep this muscle, we still need it. Set morning after morning. That is one of the most powerful things you can do for your strength, balance, and independence. You are not chasing a dramatic transformation. You are building a foundation, one ordinary morning at a time. If this video gave you something useful, take a moment to like it and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Subscribe to Senior Meal Lifestyle and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. We publish every week on the practical, honest health information that matters after 60. And we want to hear from you. What does your breakfast look like right now? What is one change you are going to try this week? Tell us in the comments. This community exists because people like you are willing to share their experiences, and someone reading through tonight might find exactly the encouragement they need. This content is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult your physician before making changes to your diet or exercise routine, especially if you have existing medical conditions or are taking medications. Thank you for watching.